What the heck is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the KindaFunny Xcast, your home for all things Xbox here at KindaFunny. Of course, I'm one of your show hosts, Snowbike Mike, and today I am joined by both of my gaming dads, IRL, in real life. I can touch him. I can see him. It's Parris Lilly in the spare bedroom alongside Gary Whitta. The three of us, the first time ever, all of the Xcast hosts have been at one table.
Yes.
And we're here together right now. How you feeling, Gary?
I'm good. We were here briefly for the spare bedroom launch, right?
Yes.
We came and stood here and did like a whole wrestling intro. But this is actually the first time that any KindaFunny host, right? Because the whole Alana era, that was over Zoom or Discord or whatever. This is the first time that all three of the hosts have been at the desk in meat space for real. And what a perfect show to do it. Biggest Xbox game of the year.
And we're doing it for that, of course. Parris, it's great to have you in the spare bedroom.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm not a floating head in the middle. I'm actually here in the flesh. And it's been a good 2 days being here at the studio, hanging out with everybody, content. You're streaming Starfield earlier. I got to hang out in there. It's been a good time.
Yeah, it's pretty special to be together. Yeah. It's always nice to spend time with you, Parris, and of course, Gary. I get a lot of time with Gary, which is incredible. But to have you in the mix with us, engaging with the team here at the spare bedroom, it just elevates everyone. It's also one of those, like, you feel the camaraderie, you feel the community, you feel your team of like, oh, this is what you're doing it for. Oh, this is who you're doing it with. Yep. It's nice to have that energy together. And of course, you got to share that energy on the KindaFunny Games Cast.
Yes.
Because the official review for Starfield is now live and up. Of course, here at the KindaFunny Xcast, I want to ask these guys about their thoughts on Starfield. We're going to talk about that, but we're also going to jump into your burning questions about Starfield. But if you're looking for the official review from KindaFunny, Parris, you're the lead reviewer. It's on the Games Cast now. Let's start off the show.
I'm so animated.
You look good.
It's my first time watching it. That's funny.
Let's talk about your initial thoughts. I want to hear, just give me the quick breakdown of your score, and then, of course, some of your review and thoughts, because then I want to hear from Gary. So I kind of want to take this time. Let's share with the Xcast audience what you guys think of the big game.
Sure. So Starfield for me was a 4 out of 5. Ultimately, I feel that clearly we need to judge the game for what it is today versus what it potentially could be down the road. But I think there's a lot of good there. The size, just the ambition that Bethesda had with this. There's so many different things that you can do in the game, which is fantastic. But there are some things that they're going to need to clean up over the next few weeks and months. I think one of the common themes that I've seen now that the reviews are out is the inventory system. We talked about it on Gamescast as well. It's not ideal, let's put it that way. But the good of it is you get to play this game how you want to play it. The main story is kind of there just to guide you along the way. And as cliche as this may sound, the game doesn't even really start until you complete the main quest and you get into New Game Plus, which we won't spoil here. But this is a true Bethesda RPG. It is not meant to try and do everything all at once. The one thing that I said during the review is the way I played this game during the 2 weeks is not how I would recommend anyone play this game. I would say go in there, see what you like doing in the game, whether it be a space pirate, a smuggler, bounty hunter, you know, you're part of the freestyle rangers or whatever the case may be. Maybe you like building ships. Maybe you like, creating outposts. Maybe you just want to go discover all these planets and survey them and get the resources, but find your lane in Starfield and just go from there and have fun.
I like that. 4 out of 5 on the KindaFunny scale.
Yeah, 4 out of 5.
Some good positives, some critiques right there. Gary, you weren't on the KindaFunny review. Of course, Parris did to go a little more in depth with his thoughts than just that, but we haven't heard from you, Gary. We've been all patiently waiting.
I'm excited.
What's Gary Whitta think of Starfield?
So before we even get into it, a few things. First of all, it's just a relief to be able to talk about it, right? Because we all had to honor the embargo, and I took that very seriously. I even had friends reaching out to me privately saying like, so is it any good? Like, you can tell me, right? And I said, no, I'm serious. I'm taking this embargo seriously. I'm not telling anybody anything. Yeah, like, I'm keeping this to myself. The only people I spoke to was Parris, and I would talk back. The other people that I knew were also playing the game and under embargo. Parris and I talked a lot. That's where that stupid redacted text came from. I can post the unredacted version of that now. People will finally see it was a big fuss over nothing. And I spoke to Lucy and Tam over at GameSpot / Giant Bomb and Dan Stapleton at IGN. We talked briefly, just like kind of checking each other's math on this. And we were all in kind of broad agreement, I think it seemed like. Also, I want to say, with no disrespect to people whose job it is to put scores on games, because that's the expectation. I personally, I would not put a score on the game yet, based on my experience. I think it's a very tricky business trying to put a score on this game, given the amount of time people were given to play it.
Yeah,
it's funny you say that, because I put a score on it because I was the lead review.
Right.
But Greg and Andy said the same exact thing you said. I'm not ready to put a score on this game.
So much of this game,
and I agree with that.
So much of this game is built on the promise of 130, 150 hours, infinite possibilities. You know, in the time that you can reasonably put into it. Greg's got, I don't know how many, I think I've got 40 hours. I've got about 25. You probably got more than anybody.
Close to 90.
Yeah, so like a lot. But even then, it's like, so for me, there's so much in the game that I haven't even touched yet. So here's why it's interesting that Parris made this point, because I was the exact opposite. Even though I knew I'd be coming in here to give my impressions, I'm not reviewing the game per se. And so I went into it. I think when you go into it, as Parris did, knowing that you're reviewing it, you do play the game in a slightly kind of unnatural. It might not be the way you would choose to naturally play the game. If you're a reviewer, you're thinking, well, I've got to make sure I try everything, right? I've got to make sure the main quest is good, side quests, all these. I've got to try a little bit of it. I've got to make sure I've got like a holistic view of the game so I can give it a proper review when the time comes. I did not approach it that way at all. I approached it in a way that I think is arguably maybe like a more authentic way to do it, not necessarily the most useful way for people reading a review, but like, I'm just going to play this the way I want to play it, right? That's the promise of this game, right? Play it the way you want to play. Do whatever you want to do. Pete Hines, there was a big thing going on. Pete Hines made a big deal out of how he'd played like 100 plus hours of the game and hadn't even touched the main quest, right? So they clearly want people to like play the game however they want, right? Mm-hmm. That's what I did. I played it as though I just picked it up on Game Pass day one. How do I want to play this game? So I, too, have not even touched the main quest. I've done about 25 side quests. I've got like 8 different jobs at different organizations. Yeah. I'm a 3-star ranger. I'm working for the evil cyberpunk corporation. I'm working for OC Security. I'm a pirate. I've got all these different jobs. And I'm just messing around. I'm just doing what I want. I'm just doing what I feel like doing. Yeah. Which, you know, is the experience. I think most people are going to play this game are not going to have the burden of, I need to experience this much of the game in a certain time. They're just going to play it. They want to play it at their own pace. Plus, you know, I've got kids, and like I said, 25 hours of this game in the time that I've had with it is a lot for me, because I said a number of times, I want to play as much of it as I can before I come in. But I'm still going to spend the time that I spend playing it the way I want to play, which is just farting around. Oh, what's over here? You know, and it is that kind of game. I discovered a planet the other day. I was on my way to do something else. Parris, you'll know that sometimes you can't jump straight to a system. You have to jump along the way. And so, like a system that I was supposed to be just passing through, I was like, wait, this planet looks interested. Landed on. There's a bunch of shit, but going off there. And now I'm involved in that. So it's a kind of game. If you're like ADHD, you're never going to get anything done in this game, because you're constantly always something else. Oh, no, come over here, and you'll never get anything done. But that's fine. Like, it's a little bit overwhelming and a little bit of a mess in the sense that, like I said, I have 8 different jobs. And I don't know if any of these things are time sensitive, but like a lot of the places when you apply will say things like, you know, it's flexi time. Do it on your own time. Like, they're encouraging you to just do missions when you feel like it, which is not how a real job would be. Like, come in whenever you feel like it. But like, they've done it that way to make you feel like you can take on all these different things. Like, my quest log is just so, and you'll pick up quests without even trying to. You're right. You'll walk past you'll overhear a conversation, and just based on that, it'll add a quest to your log. You overheard that, so now you can go do this. And so quests are piling up. Cool. And it's a massive to-do list. But it's good to have. It's nice to have all. I think the one thing that the game does do a good job of, again, at least in the first 25 hours I spent, is like, you really can you can go do whatever you want. The game's not like encouraging you or pushing you to play the game a certain way. You can just like fart around. And I've said before a million times, the games that I like the most are games that feel less like a game than I play than a place that I go, like Mass Effect or Los Santos. Just like some of my most fun GTA 5 play sessions, I didn't do anything. I played golf, I did yoga, I just fucked around. Like, I'll drive over here and see and Starfield will let you do that. And that's one of my favorite things about it. I do have some serious problems with the game, and we'll get to those, but let's...
Well, Yeah, let's stay on the positive really quick because, of course, a lot of people are probably wondering, hey, Mike, where's your thoughts? What's your impression so far? As many of the Kinda Funny best friends know, I am currently doing a marathon stream with the launch of Starfield as of recording today. So I've actually gone these 2 weeks just kind of waiting. I have not been able to play the game. I wanted it to be my first experience. So I am still very early into this, probably like 2 real hours of playing. We've had some talking, but I've just jumping in. So I look forward to next week. I'll have my real thoughts and we'll be able to dive a little bit deeper on what I think. But I do want to give some compliments because I want to start off with, give me one more positive from each of you before we get into Gary's critical thoughts. And one positive for me is I am really impressed with the lighting of the game. This game looks good. Yeah. The lighting, whether you're inside or outside, looks good as well. I am impressed with the facial animations and the character creator of this. I was really blown away going, man, I'm making someone that looks very much like me, and I like the backgrounds. I like reading through all the different ideas they had. I'm a spaceship trucker out of nowhere. Like, you wouldn't think, oh, yeah, you're just going to be a ship hauler. No, I am that. And so I want to give kudos to the character models and the character creation and the lighting. I think look very, very well done.
I'll just give kudos to the performance of the game. We obviously know coming in, Bethesda and their reputation of Bugthesda, but the time has been well spent. This is a pretty polished game across PC, across the Series X, and more specifically the Series S. I know some people had concerns about that, but it's been a great experience. It's great. I mean, I played a lot of it on the S, no issues at all. The X, like that's what they're streaming on right now, is great. And obviously PC is going to be the top, depending on your rig, but I saw real issues.
I saw Blessing playing the PC version on an ultra-wide monitor. Yeah. It looked so good, I went and bought an ultra-wide monitor.
Nice.
Because this is the kind of game with those big planetary vistas and the space combat where like an ultra-wide, like that's the kind of game that those monitors were made for.
Yeah.
And yeah, so people, a lot of because there's been so much like, we talked about the polarization, right? And people on social media have divided into pro and anti-Starfield because the game is such a standard bearer for the Xbox. The PlayStation fans are out for blood, and and the Xbox super fans are defending it, all without having played the game, right? But like the 30 frames a second thing, like people have been, like I tweeted a thing about, I did a TikTok about how I'm playing Starfield, and I had a bunch of, enjoy your 30 frames a second. Not at one time did I think this game's not performing well. Like it's great. It looks again, PC's no doubt going to be better, but I have no performance criticisms at all, like frame rate, whatever.
I will say just on that comment, like going from I'm playing above 60 frames on PC, with my rig. So when you first jump over to playing on Xbox, takes a second.
Is it harder to come back to Xbox after playing it on a Ninja PC? What that is like at killing
first,
on the frame rate?
Like you can tell it's at 30 frames, but once you kind of settle in, it's fine.
Yeah.
And again, shout out to Xbox Play Anywhere. I had my cryptic tweets over the past 2 weeks, but I was hopping back and forth between platforms because of Xbox Play Anywhere and the cloud saves. I mean, I ran it. There was a couple times where the cloud saves didn't sync properly, but I mean, 90% of the time, it was great experience. It was easy to just pick up and play between platforms, no problem.
Really quick, before we go on to Gary for one final one, I do want to put a pin on that one. The Xbox Series S, you said ran good, because that's been our hot topic. I want to make sure the audience here is like, you did play on that, and you thought it went well.
Yeah, I can kind of break down my percentages. 60% of the time I played on the PC.
Okay.
And then I would say it was almost an even split from there between the X and the S, 20 and 20. It's fine. I mean, it was fine.
That's great to hear.
There was no... the resolution, obviously, I think it's 1440p or whatever. So resolution drops, but, it's virtually identical to the X as far as the way it performed and everything. Everything was fine.
Sweet.
I'm telling you, there was no issues at all. They did a great job. Kudos to that team, optimizing it for that platform. There was no problems.
Gary, give me one more positive that you like out of this game. One more good thing.
So I'll just in general say, like, in the main, the headline, have I enjoyed playing this game? Yes, very much. Can I see myself putting another 100 hours into the game? Absolutely. Some of that is because this game is extremely my shit, right? Mass Effect 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah. And this is very much in the Mass Effect pocket, right? In fact, it has a lot of similarities to Mass Effect in the world building and so forth.
Yeah.
And again, and this is without, because I want to do all the shit that the game lets. I haven't done most of this stuff yet. I haven't upgraded. I haven't put any modules on the ship. I haven't done any ship design. I've only recruited 2 companions, and I'm not really sure exactly what they do or how they're helpful to the game. I haven't done much research or crafting or modding. I haven't built any outposts. I've been to all the major planets, like the big ones. I've been to Neon and New Atlantis and the Cowboy Firefly planet,
with
Mars, and I've seen all the. I think I've seen most of the major, built out planets that are available to you early in the game. I've done a bunch of side quests. I haven't even touched. I didn't know what the main quest is. I've not even touched it. Like there's a thing where the quest giver says like, "Are you ready to go, or do you want to fart around?" So I'm going to fart around, and then I haven't come back to it yet. So I'm just doing all the other stuff. Just trying again, just playing it the way I would naturally choose to play it without any, thought about. I'm not like a restaurant critic who needs to try everything on the menu. I'm just someone going to the restaurant and eating what I want to eat.
I like that.
And I really like the space combat. I think the space combat's very good. And I like the fact that this is a game that is a full-featured, like, walk-around on planets Bethesda game, but there's also this whole other space combat thing going on. I'm a guy who grew up on the original Elite, like one of the greatest space combat, space trading games of all time. And when you jump into a new system and the local law enforcement will scan your ship for contraband, like it takes me right back to playing Elite on the Commodore 64. That stuff I like. And the space combat, I think, is pretty fun. I'm enjoying it. I love how when the ships blow up real good, and then you can like go and grab the debris and like harvest materials and stuff. There's a lot of stuff about it I like. I have one major criticism that is really weighing the game down for me.
Give it to me right now.
And it's in the area where I look for a game to deliver, which is I like immersion, I like story, I like character. I like narrative. I like that feeling of suspending disbelief. And I'm in this other place. I am Commander Shepard. I'm on Omega. I'm in the Afterlife nightclub. I feel like I'm there, right?
Yeah.
And again, I haven't done the main quests where most of the storytelling is going to go. So I don't have any thoughts yet on like the overarching, how good it could be an amazing overarching story. I don't know yet. In the moment-to-moment gameplay, my opinion is that the writing is not great. The characters are not great. I don't think the character models are very good. They look very flat. And my biggest issue is this, and this is the analogy that I've been waiting to use all week. And I mentioned this to a couple of other embargoed reviewers, and they went, "Oh my God, that's dead on." Like this, I think this analogy works. Greg said the same thing. I never felt like I'm in outer space being this character. What I felt like was that whenever I play the game, I feel like I'm at a really good space adventure theme park, like a Westworld kind of place, where everything's curated and built around my experience, and I'm on a vacation having a good time. And that's manifested in so many ways, and one of the most obvious ones is the characters, all the NPCs that I'm interacting with all feel like either animatronic dummies or like the guys that work at the Star Wars hotel, where you can go and like LARP and hey, you want to go? Hey, the Empire's stolen these secret plans. I need you to take them from me. And everything's a little bit cheesy and overacted and like very expositional and kind of delivered to you. And that's kind of how it feels. Like that Bethesda way of doing things, where the characters, when you interact with the character, they're just basically, full on just staring at the screen, staring at you in first person, and that's what you see. I kind of feel like if you could see the bottom half of that, you would see like the animatronic robot base that the top half of the dummy is kind of sitting on. Oh, hello, you are here for an outer space adventure. I will give you a mission. It feels a little bit like that because the writing is very pedestrian. Again, at least in the side quest, they may have saved the best stuff for the main quest, I don't know. But the writing's very pedestrian. Characters don't talk anything like people talk like in real life. And again, dialogue is not supposed to sound like the way that people talk. It's supposed to be most interested in that. But it's very, very naked and brazen in its exposition. Like you just walk up to somebody and like you've never met this person and they're telling you their fucking life story. And it's like, oh, hi, I hear you're interested in the Freestar Rangers. The Freestar Rangers were first founded in 2270. It's like, why are you telling? I didn't even ask you this shit. Why are you giving me all this, all this expositional dumps?
It sounds like a Bethesda game, though. That's how it's always.
Well, and that's the thing. So I would say this: if you like, sorry, I'll finish. I'm dominating, right? But I've been wanting to get this off my chest all week because it's really bugging me. It's taking me out of the game because it doesn't not at one point do I suspend my disbelief and not feel like these aren't like puppets.
Yeah.
Because the character models are flat. They're really flat. Mass Effect 2 did this shit better, and that's an Xbox 360 game. And the real problem they have, I think, is that the timing is so unfortunate with Baldur's Gate 3. Because Baldur's Gate 3, even though it's a very different game, does so many of these things better. Starfield has a very good character creator. Baldur's Gate 3 has a better one. Starfield has all these NPCs and quests. Baldur's Gate has better ones. Like everyone in the game is so flat, and that whole thing where it's just a person just talking to you like this, it's not cinematic, it's really flat. The character models animations, again, make them just feel like they're animatronic because they don't have, none of them, they have these kind of these lifeless eyes, these doll's eyes. Like they don't feel like real people to me. And for me, some people don't care. If all you care about, this is my first big Bethesda game I've ever played. I was never into Fallout games or Elder Scrolls games. So this is kind of a new way of storytelling. Very familiar to people who played Bethesda games. And if you want, hey, Bethesda, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, but in space, you're going to love this game. I found it really off-putting because I just don't like, I feel like the rest of the world since Bethesda established that style has moved on and found new, more interesting ways to curate story and present other characters and cinematics. And Bethesda's just still doing what they've been doing for years. And it feels to me, coming to that style of presentation for the first time, very dated, not cinematic, not engaging. And I'm still enjoying the game, but it's in spite of all of these things.
Two things.
Tell me, Parris, hit 'em.
Kind of address what you talked about with the visuals and everything that you're talking about with the NPCs. I think this is the beauty and the curse of the creation engine at work, because I think it can have some beautiful visuals, great attention to detail, some great lighting. But then when it comes to the NPCs, exactly what you're talking about. In my notes, I had the Deadeye thing, talking about the whole thing, because you can tell the NPCs that were specifically curated for certain story beats, there's a lot more detail into them, and they do seem to have more emotion to them, right? Whereas the standard ones, they're doing exactly what you're saying, and I think that is a ding and a limitation to what they're trying to do in that style. Yeah. But that is also classic Bethesda at the same time. So the one thing that we said in our review, as well as I've seen in other reviews, like even more specifically the IGN one, I think stands out, what Dan was talking about, is part of the problem that keeps this from reaching that epic generational level that we were hoping that it would be, is it takes too long to get going. I think where you're at, like you said, you're about 25 hours. I think you're about to hit that point where it is going to go over the top and you're going to get into some really cool shit. And
that's why I preface this by saying I will not be drawn on a score. I will not give you a score today because I'm not ready to give one. One other thing that I wanted to mention about the character interactions, though, the acting is not great. And again, maybe it's better in the main quest for the main characters. I'm just dealing with side quests and NPCs where maybe they're not like bringing like the A game the way they are with the central stuff. But like a lot of the line read, it really just feels like they're reading lines off of a script. And there are several occasions where I'm like, that wasn't the right line reading. Like that, I don't think that's the way you were supposed to read that line. And like you didn't do another take. You just went with it, even though it feels really weird and wrong. Like it's just not well acted in terms of the vocal performances. It feels very amateur dramatics, very LARPy. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, because Parris and I talked about this, is sometimes the character behavior is really weird.
And
characters
that's got to be
they'll get stuck in corners, they'll spin around, but they'll follow me, but then the guy will spin around and then walk off. Like that takes me out of the game. Yeah. Weird things like I'm talking to a character now. Don't forget, when you're talking to a character, that's not a cinematic. That's all happening live in engine. So characters will just walk in the middle of through a conversation, or there's
weird stuff.
I'm talking to a woman. I remember I talked about this. There's a woman standing there. There's another woman standing right behind her, like it's something out of like it's something out of a horror movie. Like this weird other character that no one's talking, but she's like standing right behind her, like lurking behind her in a really unnatural way. Like that happened several times. Several times I interacted with characters that wouldn't even, they would talk to me, but they wouldn't turn around. I come to the character from behind. They're supposed to turn around.
They're having a conversation
They say I'm talking to the back of Parris's head.
Yeah.
That's like a third of my interactions in the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll figure it out and turn to face you. Other times they won't, or they'll just kind of like half turn. So they're kind of like, so Parris is here. I'm like, so Parris is, I'm like this. Oh yeah, I heard about that. It's like, turn around? What is wrong with you?
Turn around and look
There
at
was
me.
a lot of weird stuff like that.
Okay.
And that's stuff that can be fixed and patched.
Yeah.
But the vocal performances and the writing and just that general sense of like, this all feels a bit fake and performed and contrived for my enjoyment rather than feeling real. And, like, again, suspension of disbelief, that I don't think they can fix. And it's been a problem for me so far.
Well, I look forward to more Starfield talk. Of course, if you want the big in-depth review, you can go check out the Kinda Funny Gamescast right now, where, of course, lead reviewer for Kinda Funny, Parris will give you all of his in-depth thoughts and analysis alongside Greg, Andy, Blessing, and Tim. So the big review is there. Of course, here on the Kinda Funny Xcast, we're going to answer your burning Starfield questions in just a moment because, of course, this is the Kinda Funny Xcast. We post each and every Thursday at 6 a.m. West Coast, Best Coast time on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and, of course, on podcast services around the globe. We want to thank our friends over at Epic Games. Of course, we are Epic Games partners, which means you can use our Epic creator code KindaFunny at checkout anytime you're buying a game off the Epic Games store, upgrading your look in Fortnite, Rocket League, or Fall Guys. Use that Epic creator code KindaFunny at checkout. Thank you to our Patreon producers for the month of August, Jedi Master Deadpool, Delaney Twining, and Logan Delaney. Thank you both. Thank you all for your support. Along with, of course, our sponsors for the Kinda Funny Xcast, Rocket Money and Netflix's One Piece, which I'm going to tell you about right now.
This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Every single person I know that has tried Rocket Money has been shocked at how many subscriptions they have that they forgot about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending and it helps you lower your bills all in one place. Most people think they're spending about $80 a month on their subscriptions when in reality, it might be closer to $200 plus when you're signed up for so many things like streaming services you use to watch one show or free trials for delivery you don't use. It's so easy to lose track of what you're actually paying for. With Rocket Money, you can easily cancel the ones you don't want with just the press of a button. No more long hold times or annoying emails with customer service. Rocket Money does all the work for you. Stop wasting your money on things you don't use, cancel your unwanted subscriptions, and manage your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. That's rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. rocketmoney.com/kindafunny. This episode is brought to you by One Piece on Netflix. The global phenomenon One Piece has finally gotten a live action adaptation on Netflix. This is an incredible world ruled by pirates, filled with never before seen superpowers and a hunt for a legendary treasure called the One Piece. It's an epic action adventure about following your dreams, searching for treasure, and ultimately finding your chosen family. The series was made by fans, for fans, old and new. Showrunners Matt Owens and Steven Maeda are huge fans of the manga and come at their work from a fan-first perspective while still allowing new audiences to discover and fall in love with this story. Manga creator Ichiro Oda was involved in every step of the process at a level which was never seen before in any previous live-action manga adaptation. One Piece is an action-packed, warm-hearted, and joyful adventure that you don't want to miss. Don't miss One Piece on Netflix, August 31st.
All right, guys, we're back. It was great to hear your initial thoughts. I'm ready to jump into some burning questions from the community because, man, oh, man, people are excited for this game. We got a lot of questions, and we're all over the place. So I kind of want to just start jumping from piece to piece. If there's something you guys want to bring up, let's talk about it. But let's jump in to the viewer questions. Of course, people want to know about weapons in combat. Let's talk about it because now there's guns. We got some gunplay in here, and people are questioning, did they elevate the gunplay in this? So our first question comes from Mike Foster. My wife isn't a shooter type of gamer. Will she be able to play Starfield as just an explorer? And since I'm a shooter, will I get shooter enjoyment out of this?
I want to say it's yes to both. I think she might have to do some early on combat, but I think, again, going back to what we're talking about, you'll get to the point where you can just be that explorer going to planets. But you will get to some planets where you need to defend yourself against some of the alien life. So there is some combat, I think, that's always going to be needed, even if it's at a melee level. But like I told you, one shortcut is the cutter can be used as a weapon. Yeah. So you don't necessarily...
Like the default weapon you'll always have.
Yeah. But I think to the second part of it, I think the combat... They got it to an acceptable level to where it feels like, and you obviously just played. Yep. So, I mean, the guns felt good. I mean, is it at the top tier level of shooters? No, but it gets the job done.
I think the shooting is solid.
Yeah.
I don't think even if you try and play in the most stealthy persuasion type way possible, you're not going to be able to go through this game without doing some shooting. You're going to have to shoot some stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't like shooters, that's going to be an issue. I do want to say that some of the encounters are really weird. So the very first 3-star Rangers mission that I did, right? They'll say like before we take you on as a 3-star Ranger, let's give you a sample mission. Go over to the mission board and pick something. So I picked like go kill this pirate captain guy, right? I got in my ship, went to the system, landed on the planet, walked past all of his security, they don't know who I am. I just showed up. All of his security, all of his guards, walked right up to the boss who just stands there, and I shot him in the head. And then, if you're not encumbered, don't even get me started on that. You can fast travel out, and I was done. Like it was like it didn't feel like it. I mean, I'm sure there are other examples in the game that maybe that one was bugged. But like, I'm literally standing, the guy that I'm supposed to kill is going, yeah, this is the guy that you kill. I'm like, is he going to even acknowledge? I'm standing here right next to him. I've got my gun right on his head. Okay, boom, dead. Fast travel out, done.
Yeah.
That didn't feel right to me.
For my early impressions, the shooting is fine. Like you said, Parris, right? This isn't Doom or Quake. This isn't Halo Infinite. And that's not what this is going for, right? This is a match of many different games put into one. It is not prioritizing the shooting over anything else. So I would say, yeah, it feels fine to have a pistol, an automatic weapon in your hand.
I went long periods, like not even remembering that it was a shooter, but then you walk into a thing and it's a bunch of bad guys. Oh shit, yeah, I shoot in this game as well. But it's not a shooter-driven game.
Let's keep up with the combat. Let's jump into weapons because people want to know about the weapons. James Wrighton says, hello, Xcast crew and fans. My question is, during Starfield, did you come across any named weapons that felt powerful versions of regular weapons? And then on top of that, Muffin Man writes in and says, can you dual-wield weapons in this game? Like 2 pistols, 2 swords, a laser gun in one hand and a knife in the other, etc.?
Wait, where's the camera? You don't want me to answer that question about named weapons because I'll be spoiling stuff. But yes, there are some named weapons in the game that are quite enjoyable and powerful that you'll want to use. But to a lesser extent, there are some that, like I just use the Grendel as an example. There are some examples of like a Grendel. Like I have an exotic version of the Grendel that has mods on it to where it has these explosive rounds. I mean, it's actually one of my go-to weapons to use. I really like using it. It feels really good. And there's going to be other examples of those as well. Not to mention you can research and craft mods to basically take any of the weapons that have the mod slots on them and add various features to them as well to upgrade them. So
I think the gunplay and the weapons feel, when you pull the trigger, you want to have that meaty feel.
Yeah.
The weapon, I lucked into a legendary weapon early on. I was like, oh man, this is fun to play with. But then I couldn't find any ammo for it. The game's a little bit stingy with ammo sometimes.
Or is it?
Well, the problem is there's so many, like all these different guns take different kinds of ammo, right? So you might have 3 guns and a bunch of ammo, but none of them are compatible.
Yeah.
So again, that's just something you'll figure out and learn and settle, and you'll buy the right ammo and not waste time carrying ammo you don't need. And that, again, I got to mention the other thing, the encumbrance. The two other things, major problems: encumbrance.
That's fine. We can talk.
And pathfinding, mapping. Are two of the bigger problems I have with this game. Maybe it's unfair of me to say because I don't like encumbrance in games. I think it's stupid. Baldur's Gate 3 does it. Zelda doesn't. There's two best RPGs of the year. Have very different ways of doing it. Starfield chooses to have encumbrance. Fine. The problem with it is the encumbrance limit when you start is really fucking low. I got a warning. Oh, warning! Your oxygen will deplete because you're encumbered. I'm like, well, how much am I carrying? Virtually not really very much at all. Now, here's the thing: you can spend points.
Yeah,
your skill points to. So I resented the fact because I want to level up fun stuff, gun shooting, weapon damage, persuasion skills, pickpocketing. I had to waste a skill point just on upgrading my encumbrance limit, and you can I don't want to have to spend skill points just to be able to carry more stuff because you can max out really quickly. I said to Parris, do I have a stash? He said, yeah, on your ship. I went to the ship, started putting stuff, and that maxed out almost immediately. This game is really, really stingy on how much it lets you carry, and it's really limiting. And you can't fast travel while encumbered.
No.
Which is, I don't know how do they think that's additive to the game experience? I understand why you can't fast travel in combat. I can't fast travel because I'm encumbered. I had to drop a bunch of shit because I couldn't find my way back to the ship because the mapping is bad.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of this is all fixable, but they need to fix it.
Yeah, honestly, and we talked about this during the review, it is probably my #1 pet peeve about the game is the inventory management and the encumbrance. I mean, I can just kind of elaborate more on what Gary was just talking about. It's the fact that this game is designed, and I get this classic Bethesda. I understand encumbrance. I mean, there's other games that do it. I just feel that this version of it is not very forgiving, and it doesn't encourage you to do what the game does best, and that's go out and explore and grab every freaking thing.
That's what you want to do. Let me take this back to the ship and check it out. But you have to be so. Oh, but if I pick that up, I can't carry this. It's like I don't want to. I don't want to be making those decisions.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to be thinking that hard about it. And to your point again about the skill tree was like the first thing I started leveling up, and I shouldn't have to.
Right, because
I should be investing that in
like
something
basic
else.
capacity, like being able to just carry shit around. That's not a fun thing to have to level up when I could be spending those points on more fun stuff.
But here's again, and I know this is the complaining section of Starfield, but speaking on that, I'm in basically at the end point of it, and I'm maxed out on the weightlifting. I'm putting skill into my ship's cargo so I can hold more on that. I have every companion I have is a mule at this point, where I'm giving them everything.
Can you upgrade the ship's storage, like additional locker space?
Yeah, you can. But part of that problem is it's not every, and then you have like in the lodge, you have that locker where you can store stuff, but it's not all interconnected.
Yeah.
So then when you get into scenarios where you need resources, it's not just pulling a pool from everything. So now I got to try to freaking remember, wait, did I give this person this? Is this on the ship? Is this here? It's all over the place.
I don't understand the point of that.
It's
like
the number one thing they need
I get that I get that that's technically more realistic. No, your ship really is back on that planet, but it's not fun for me to have to go all the way back there. I don't want to do busy work. I don't want to do chores. And oh, by the way, that's another, again, side quests only, I get it, but like so many of the quests are just like run around, flip a bunch of switches and come back to me. It's not exciting stuff to do. And that also plays into it. The other players that I know are like this. I'm one of those, I don't have a great sense of direction. I get turned around and lost in maps all the time. So I need a helpful tip. I need a map, or what I really like is when there's like a waypoint thing that's telling me, like a little glowing line that's showing me where, like select a waypoint or pin a location and it'll basically path it for me. And I follow the path. The game does have those. It has the little dots. So it will tell me like, but you get stuck with those. You know it's like 20 feet away, but you still can't figure out like where it is. Like how do I get there?
You can hit the
scan button.
Yeah.
Or trust me, I know. If you press left bumper, you can turn on a scanning system that highlights things, and it will turn on like a little line. But it's not very good. Like it comes and goes. It's not persistent. Sometimes you can't even. I turn on the line, but I can't figure out where the line is or where it's going. Like it's so many. They've made it look cool and futuristic, but it's not as useful or simple as it can be. I got lost in maps all the time, turned around like dead ends and going around in circles. And so when I killed that pirate captain, I could not find my way back to the ship. I could not remember the way I came. I couldn't, the pathing for some reason was broken for me. It wouldn't work. Oh, I'll just fast travel back to the ship.
Can't do it.
Can't do that. You're encumbered. You need to drop all the cool, interesting shit that you just picked up.
Yeah.
So for a game that in a big picture says you can go anywhere, you can do anything, what actually says no to you a lot of time over like really basic, mundane things that are like minute-to-minute gameplay, which is, I find that annoying.
There's a mission that, and I talked about this briefly in the review, but it is literally the plot of WALL-E. And I say that because one of the solutions, the one that I was on, was requiring me to get an enormous amount of resources that I was going to have to do to complete this. I looked at that and I go, there's no effing way I'm doing this because it's chaos. Like all my stuff's all scattered. So it discouraged me from continuing that. And I eventually went back to it and did it, but it's to the point of what we're saying that fun should be the first priority in this, right? You're
Always.
taking the fun factor away. And I know this sounds like we're super complaining, but I'm saying all that to say this. These are one of the things that they will be able to address with the proper feedback. So that's why I think it's
these are all fixable things. And they do understand quality of life because the game does a lot of things right. The ability to, as long as you're not encumbered, the ability to fast travel back to the ship's really useful. When you board the ship, you can either just board it or you can go straight to the cockpit for takeoff. Little things like that just save you time. So you're spending more time playing the game than you are doing just like boring traversal back and forth. But you do end up doing a lot of that. For me, if I could wave a magic wand and have them fix one thing now, something that can be fixed, is raise the encumbrance levels because the game does not let me carry enough. I've never seen a game that lets me carry so little.
Right.
And I really,
that's a tuning thing.
I really resented having to spend that point just to be able to carry more stuff. It's like, I go, like my guns do more damage. That's cool. Ooh, I've got more chance of persuading this character to do something. That's cool. I can carry more stuff. No, just let me carry more stuff.
I hope that a year from now we're having a conversation going, man, remember when Starfield came out and it really sucked that we couldn't carry a lot? Glad they fixed that. And that's the kind of the thing. That's why I know what we're talking about right now is kind of the grievances. Yeah. But these are things that I'm sure they want to hear, that the community is going to be vocal about as well. Because to your point, these are fixable things that's just going to improve the quality of life of the game.
And in any number of ways, and this is why I said I would not put a score on it right now. In any number of ways, I think you're going to see updated reviews and updated impressions on the game weeks from now, months from now, as people learn more about what the game, where the limits of the game really are, how much you can explore, what you can and can't do, and we'll have a better understanding. Plus, as Bethesda fix things, like please fix encumbrance. It's bad. I don't like encumbrance to begin with, but if you're going to have it, don't make it so limiting. Now, there's stuff I want to pick up and I can't pick it up because most of the stuff that I just need to survive, my suit, my helmet, and my pack, those like half my encumbrance is gone just to walk on the surface of a planet. Now I can't pick anything up.
Let's talk about role-playing. Dave writes in and says, hey, guys, love the show. Keep up the stellar work. I was wondering how the game pulls you in a role-playing scene. I love all of Bethesda's past RPGs, but usually I don't find it pulls my RPG strings as much as Outer Worlds or Baldur's Gate. I usually go in with a plan of sorts, but then it falls by the wayside, and I end up a jack-of-all-trades god. What's up with role-playing? Do you feel like you're really in it? You feel like you can make your own story?
I think when we're specifically talking about this game, that possibility is there. And this is why I was saying before, the way I played it during review is not how I'm going to play it after review, because you can focus in on one thing and truly role-play that way in this game. And I think, obviously, to the level you do it, you can immerse yourself into it, and it feels like you're really doing it.
Yeah. That comes back to my biggest problem with the game, is that the other characters in the game don't feel like characters. They feel like actors. They feel like cast members at Disneyland whose job it is to make sure I have fun. It's like, I've never done it, but like you go to that Galaxy's Edge or whatever they call it, the Star Wars hotel, where everything, where they give you a backstory and everyone's in character, and people are coming up to going, oh, are you the Miller family? You've got to help me, steal the Death Star plans or whatever. It's like, yeah, okay, great, but no one's believing for a second that they're actually on a spaceship. I feel the same way. It feels like it just feels very fake. Like it's not. It doesn't feel cinematic. I think the character models, just like again, compare it to Baldur's Gate. Look how good those characters look, and how they move in a cutscene, or how they move around the space in a scene. These characters literally just sit there like that. And they, hello, I'm talking to you, and I have a mission for you. Oh no, please don't kill me. Like, it's not. It takes me out of the game every time I'm in one of those interactions. The dialogue options are good. If you want to be Commander Shepard, renegade asshole, there's some good asshole dialogue choices. Yeah. So it does give you a full suite of choices. It's just that all of the characters that I'm interacting with are so vanilla and so dull.
So Ranch Dressing wants to know, in Starfield, how fleshed out is an evil playthrough, Gary? How evil are we talking?
I haven't. Well, the thing is, I haven't really settled on a vibe yet. Sometimes the renegade quote unquote option is fun. Sometimes it's not what I want to do.
One thing I did do a lot, like say you'd be out in orbit and you see a ship and you hail them and you have those conversations, and then the piracy option would come up. I'd be like, give me all your stuff.
So space piracy. People want to know from our space pirate, Parris Lilly.
Yeah.
Jeff writes in and says, when you want to take over a ship in Starfield, do you need to kill everyone on the ship or just the captain?
You gotta kill everybody, because that person will probably still come after you. Maybe you could still probably hop in the cockpit and take command of it, but I don't think there was ever a scenario where I left an NPC alive.
Okay.
If I boarded.
It's a good example of, like, again, an area of the game that I want to get in. I haven't done any piracy. I haven't boarded a ship or done any of that stuff. I haven't even done any smuggling yet. There's an illegal substance in the game called Aurora, which I think they extract from fish guts.
Yeah,
correct.
Neon. Yeah.
So Neon is basically Omega from Mass Effect on a giant oil platform in space, right? And they harvest the fish, and I think I may have gotten this. Tell me if I'm wrong, but the Aurora is derived from these fish. I think it's like a fish pheromone or something.
Right, yeah.
And it's their drug, right? It's whatever. It's the drug that exists in this one.
That for a while.
Yeah. Well, so this thing that you can only carry it legally on Neon, and you can only buy it from one place legally on Neon. The Astral Lounge is the only place that has a license to sell it. You cannot take it off-world illegally. right? And if you're carrying it on your ship, it's going to get detected by law enforcement, who will always, and if you go to any kind of like civilized system, law enforcement will scan your ship the moment you warp into the system, unless you've got like a smuggling module. And I had this Aurora, and I couldn't leave with it because the gate agent is saying like you can't take that off world, and I didn't have the ability to like smuggle it through. And even if I had it on I knew I couldn't. This is really funny. It's like when you get stuck at the airport with all your duty free, like, oh shit, I might as well I just drank all the Aurora and got like totally high on Aurora, which is fun because it slows down time for 10 seconds.
Yep.
And so it's actually a useful thing in combat. You kind of go into like a bullet time, right?
Cool.
Like a max pain bullet time. It actually has usefulness. But like
Yeah,
a
you're
lot
right
of the
about
stuff,
the
a lot of the stuff in the game, like, okay, fine, I'm going to go upgrade my ship and add a smuggling module. I haven't yet figured out like how to do that. I've been to ship services, but again, there's just so much stuff that I think will open up once I figure out how to do basic things.
I know a guy.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you. I'll talk to you after the show.
Want to talk about ultimate freedom. You know, this is what Bethesda's known for, role-playing, having it all at you, at the player's choice. Colin writes in and says, are there black holes? If there are black holes, can I jump into one? Can I also launch myself into the sun a la Outer Worlds? Or
Talk
Outer
about that
Wilds?
during a spoiler cast.
I like that. Okay. How about the sun one? Can we answer the sun one? Can I jump into the sun?
I'm pretty sure that one you can
Okay.
do.
That did highlight.
That one I can say. You know what's funny? Alana asked me that one. She was
Okay.
asking me that. She was like, can I jump in the sun? I was like, no, I don't think so.
One of the things that made me laugh this week that went viral is like there are certain people out there that have decided they love or hate Starfield already
Yes.
because they're in a certain camp. One of the haters, did you see this? Like, oh, well, you can't even land on this planet and this planet and this
I
planet. It's
saw
like,
it.
yeah, because they're gas giants.
Yes.
You would not be able to land on those anyway. Those planets literally don't have a surface.
Yeah.
What are you complaining about?
I don't care. I want to be on the surface, Gary.
I need to be on this. How about resource management and crafting? Christian writes in and says, as someone who loves customization, crafting, but can't stand resource grinding, do the companion/outpost mechanics allow me to automate resource gathering? How would that work? Also, can we change weapon colors? Oh, a little two-parter right there.
Don't know about the weapon colors. I'm going to lean towards no, because if it's there, I absolutely missed it and wasn't looking for it. But from the resource automating, yeah, absolutely you can. The one outpost that I built and really put some time and effort into, I had it set up. It was, what was it? It was grabbing uranium for me, and I was doing helium and something else. But to his point, yes, you can.
And you can do
absolutely
cosmetic
that.
changes to the ships, right? You can modify the look of the ships just cosmetically, like different.
Now the
jobs and
ships
stuff.
you can change colors, to,
Right.
Because I
Okay.
did that.
Okay.
That you can definitely do.
Let's
And
talk.
there's a lot of like to do things in this game, and it's designed to be this way. There's a lot of things you got to do. We were talking about just before the show. Let's say you want to add a sniper scope to a weapon that you have. Well, you've got to research that, and in order to research it, you've got to collect all the raw materials. So, so I've got to run around on a bunch of different planets. It tells you need 3 aluminum, 3 of this, 3 of that. Now I've got to go scan those planets, walk around, find the part of the because I remember I got confused by this. Like it says it's aluminum, but I can only mine the stuff that actually lights up on the scanner.
Right.
Use the cutter, get all the aluminum. Now I've got to go back and research it. Now it's researched. I've got to actually, that just gives me the ability to build.
Right.
Now I've got to craft it.
So what I figured out leads into this, what we're talking about. So remember how like you would see like aluminum and there'd be like an area that's lit up on the ground?
Yeah.
You can set up an outpost near something like that, and you basically set up whatever
that's
thing,
cool.
and it's gonna farm.
Right. See, this is, and
aluminum
again,
for
this
you.
is exactly why
Yeah.
I'm saying like I would not put a score on it. Again, I think Parris and other people have played it enough that they can get it because you knew that and I didn't. I cannot score it yet because like there's all this shit that
Right.
Gotta see it
If
all.
I've played it for
Yeah.
another 100 hours, I'm going to have a lot, probably a very different. It could be a 10 out of 10 game after 100 hours.
But see, that's the when we talked about this during the review. That to me is the polarizing thing about this, because it will require time investment into this game. Anyone that plays this game for 25, 30 hours, I just completed the main quest and I'm done. You're going to go, this is a 3 out of 5. What am I doing here for everything that you were talking about? But if you're willing to go past that and truly invest a lot more time into it, that's when it opens up. And that's what I think, and I know this wasn't the question, but I might as well say it now. This is what I think will hold this back from being that generational title for Xbox, being the signature game for Xbox. Whereas I think this will be a solid, great, hey, Starfield was a great start to the generation. Like, look, that was the starting point for all these games versus defining the generation. I don't think Starfield's going to be that for Xbox. But I think it's good that this is a game for Xbox, because you will go buy an Xbox to go play this game.
Yeah, like I say,
100%
it's
say that.
overwhelming from the beginning, like how expansive and open it is.
Yeah.
Like if you're someone who like has just trouble making decisions about where you want, like the 2 places for dinner, and you can't make a choice, you're gonna have a hard time with this game because there's so much stuff opens up to you. Like I said, quests just being pushed on you without you even asking for them. I walk past, I hear a conversation. Here's another quest, and like so, I'm ADHD. I'm like, I can't like focus on what I'm jumping around, discovering things by accident. And again, that's kind of fun in itself. Like, okay, I'll go do here. The game never says you can't do. It says you can't do lots of little things, but it really lets you do lots of big things. And I think it is the kind of game that says this game's going to demand a lot of your time, but if you're willing to put that time in, you will be rewarded. That's the vibe that I'm getting.
Let's keep it going for a little bit longer here. Planet size and mission size. Levi writes in and says, in Starfield, I assume it varies, but what would you say is the average size of a random, unimportant planets you can land on, those not connected to any major quest lines? Smaller or similar in size to maps in Skyrim, Oblivion, Fallout 4? Also, side quests, how large is the largest planet you land on? Oh, okay. Just wants to know side quests. How large can the side quests?
That's a hard question for me to answer, because I never framed it in that way of like, let me push the limit of this planet, how far it can go. I know there was the whole zone controversy that was happening and everything. I never got to the point where I edged up to the end of a zone and I needed to get back in the ship. Because remember, I was even showing you how you can move around and you can do the different landing spots. So I apologize. I can't really answer that in saying that how big or small something was. I mean, I definitely went around, did a lot of surveying of resources and all that, and I was able to mostly accomplish that in one zone. Okay. I purposely would have gotten back in the ship. Well, let me go to this side of the planet. Let me do this. I did those kind of things, but I never got to the edge of something. And when you'll see as you go around, there's some planets that are super big, some that are really tiny, moons, things like that. But like I said, I never pushed the limit on it.
Did you go to Earth? Just to check it out?
I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay. Gary, let's talk about side quests really quick, because you've been doing side quests. You talked about them just kind of being like fetch quests and kind of basic, right? Did you find any that wowed you in size, maybe going from another planet to another planet and onward, and it was more of a fetch quest, but on a global, bigger scale? Or was it all
they're very
small
typical side quests. They're not the kind of ones that we were joking about when Todd was on the show, like go kill 10 of these things. I haven't seen anything like that, but it's a lot of what just feels like busy work. Like there's literally a quest where you have to go get someone coffee. And, you know, there's more to it than that as it eventually goes on. But there's a lot of like run around and flip switches at 5 locations, or run around and check like 10 different sensors. And it is just like go here, go here, go here, go here, come back. And that's it. And a lot of them are like that. And after a while, like it's, again, they're just side quests. So like they're maybe not meant to be the most interesting part of the game. But like, again, that's what I'm choosing to do. That's how I choose to play the game. Like every playthrough of the game should be valid. Like I think it's a failure. I'm not necessarily saying it is in this case, but it's a failure if a game says you can play it any way you want, and that includes ways that you can play it that make it really boring.
I will say this though, one of, if not the best quest that I did that turned out to be, took me hours to wind up completing, started off that way. Right. Just something very mundane and random.
And I totally believe that they have quests like that. A lot of the ones that I've got have been very kind of pedestrian.
Yeah.
Let's round out the show with 2 more questions, because we have a lot of questions, and we're going to be talking.
Oh my God, are we already out of time?
For so long.
Crazy.
I could talk about this game all day.
Like I said, the full review is up now on Gamescast. We here at the Xcast are going to be talking about this next week. The week on, we're going to be talking about Starfield a lot. So let's keep it tight right now. 2 more questions coming in. Shipbuilding and outposts. Muffin Man wants to know, how are the pre-built ships and outposts compared to building your own from scratch? Fallout 4's base building was too much for me, but I'm hoping that pre-built options are good and worth using as well, like in Skyrim house building DLC. Sorry if this submission is too early.
My favorite ship in the game was a pre-built one.
Okay.
It was one that I earned through a quest. I messed around with the shipbuilding. It can get very complex, but I just did something simple to say I did it. But there'll be people, again, you talk about role-playing and all that they'll get into that in-game activity. And I'm actually excited to see what the community is going to come up with some of the creations they're going to do. But there's a lot of different options and things that you'll be able to pull off. So the more creative people are, the better it'll be. Now, the question about pre-built outposts, as far as I know, there's no pre-built outpost.
Oh, really? Okay.
You have to build your own.
You have to build your own.
Yeah.
It's not like here's a 5-bedroom home. You just plop it down there.
No, not
Here's a resource
but,
outpost.
There's the one trait where you get the house.
Yes.
But no, nothing that's pre-built for on a planet. There's an outpost or whatever.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
One other, just a couple of small things that I want to highlight because again,
please.
I want to make sure that because I talked about a bunch of stuff that bothered me. There's a lot of stuff in it I really like. I really like the traits that you get to pick at the beginning. There's some really fun and
Did you
interesting
pick
ones.
any wacky traits?
Well, I picked one that I really like, which is my parents are alive and I can go
Nice.
visit them, but I have to send 2% of everything I own back to them every month.
Right.
That's fine. Let's just go. And I went and found them, and they're a very nice couple, and they're happy to see me.
That's awesome.
And I feel like I may be wrong, or maybe I wanted it to be there, but like the mother looks like my mother. I think what they're doing is taking your character. I think they're taking your character model and like saying, what would that character's mother look like? Because she looks like my mom.
Yeah, okay,
Like,
really?
Like the character's mom.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. I think some of the traits and perks are really fun.
You know what I picked?
What?
Adoring fan. So I have the guy who chases me
why
all
would you
around.
wanna do
He's the
that?
best. He's bringing me gifts, and he's part of my crew now, and he sleeps in my bed.
Of course you like him, Mike. Of
one
course
thing,
you do.
One thing that I did early on, and I think they put it in there deliberately because it does illustrate how the game. One of the things that they advertise, and I think it is true, is that 3 people could play 50 hours of this game and not have overlapped with anyone else, each other's content at all. You can see totally different stuff.
Yeah.
I applied for a job at OC Security, which is like, the local kind of cops. And they said, oh, yeah, your locker's back there. Go check it out. And I went back. And there was a blanket or something in a locker. I thought, oh, I'll grab that. And I didn't realize I was stealing it. And it says steal. I didn't pay attention. Grabbed it. There's a security guard right there. You're under arrest for stealing a blanket. Next thing you know, I wake up in an interrogation room and some fucking space CIA dude comes in and says, well, I can either throw you in jail forever for stealing a blanket, or you can come work for me and infiltrate this pirate organization and be like an undercover operative. I thought, fuck, I'll do that. And now I'm doing that. And that's like a whole massive quest line. And that's really cool. Like I'm in tight with the pirate captain, but then I'm going back to the vigilance to like debrief my guys on what I've learned. Like that's nothing to do with the main game, but it's just really cool. I'm enjoying doing that a lot.
It is one of the best quest lines in the game.
Yeah, it's really fun.
There it is.
When you get to the end. Yeah.
Let's end it out here. We have so much to talk about. I wish we could stay forever, especially with you in the building, Parris. Blow off all the afternoon stuff. Let's just keep talking Xcast. But let's talk about Endgame. Okay, we're here at the ending now. Aaron and Toby Blue have both written in, and I want to hit both of their questions. Aaron first. What's up, y'all? My question is, what is the end game of Starfield like? One of my favorite things in Bethesda games is how there's always things to do and places to discover after the main story ends. Are there endless procedurally generated side quests like Fallout 4 that tend to get boring and repetitive after a while? Or do you think that all of the various systems, pirating, outpost building, exploration, crafting, etc., keep gameplay fresh and the player hooked for a long time?
Can't answer that question directly because it will spoil the end of the game, other than to say they've taken a unique approach to that. And this is why I've said it. I know Pete Hines had said it before the game even came out, that the game does not truly start until you complete the main quest.
So Toby Blue wants to know, hey, Xcast crew, I'm a player who likes to take my time and explore all the side content before I finish the main story. But from the Games Cast discussion, it sounds like the post-game is actually where the game starts to sing. So with that being said, do you recommend me completing the main story earlier in order to experience the post-game?
I think the way it's designed, and I'm being careful because I don't want to spoil it, is you could take either approach. And I think it would be satisfying to you personally. I would not rush through the main quest. I would experience the game. I would experience all the systems that you can, the different roles you can do, the factions, before you decide, hey, I want to knock this out. Find what you like.
Yeah, that's exactly how I've been playing it. Yeah.
Find what you like. Then, okay, let me get the main quest going. Let's get into that end game and we can go from there. That's what I would do.
Well, Kinda Funny best friends, Xcast listeners near and far, Starfield is now officially out as of recording this. I believe early access starts at 5 p.m. When you're hearing this, it's already live. Of course, if you're playing on Game Pass, you'll get that next week. You can pay for the upgrade to play it right now. And we can't wait to hear what you think of Starfield. Next week, we'll talk all things Starfield 1 week removed. So we'd love for you to write in kindafunny.com/Xcast with your thoughts and impressions of Starfield after your first initial play. And can't wait to talk to you more. Into the Beyond. We'll see you later, gamers. Goodbye.